Okay, we're recording.
Okay.
Give it a sec. We're jumping in there. So we are on episode 6 of 45 RPNs, episode 6. And here we are. Today is Earth Day, the Earth Day episode. And Ernie Enns and Nigel Bart here are talking music, collecting, and everything in between. Music, collecting music, and everything in between. Everything. So we're talking everything.
So what are we starting with? Between?
Well, we'll get started. What is Earth Day? What's a good band that would? What do you think? Like in terms of music, Earth Day bands, Earth bands. I just heard. Well, U2 seems like a good.
Maybe.
Earth Day U2, with Bono.
Yeah.
Do you know
but
that band?
They still haven't found what they're looking for, though, those guys.
But they've also, It's a Beautiful Day, of course. That song, I just heard it on the radio.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's a good one.
I don't know much about them, actually.
Yeah.
But Earth Day bands, that's a good one.
Earth Day.
There's an album by Manfred Mann called Men from Earth.
Ah, nice. I like that.
Is it? Man from Earth.
That's good.
I think it's Manfred Mann.
Hmm?
Or is it, now I'm getting mixed up, but it might be, Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Okay.
There's an album anyway called Men from Earth, and they show these two guys. They look like they're straight from the hills.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's a good one. Give me a second. I'm just gonna. Okay, yeah, Rare Earth is another one. Rare Earth.
Yeah, they had a lot of good songs. A lot of good AM radio songs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that for a bit. Earth bands.
Well, what about the 60s? That was pretty earthy movement. The 60s and just preceding the 70s, like they were pretty down to earth. The hippie movement.
Yeah, I suppose. And there's CCR. Not that they're maybe considered an earth band, but if you look at their albums, all 7 albums, with the exception of one, earth tones. All of their albums are earth tones. And I don't know if people have ever noticed that. Because I have all the albums, the one jumps out at you.
Yeah.
So, and the only one that's not earth tone is Cosmos Factory. And that's my favorite album of the whole bunch. That's my personal favorite. But
earth tone would be like natural acoustic sounds.
No, the cover, the picture cover.
Oh, the cover.
The actual
art.
visual
Yeah.
art is all browns and greens. And
Speaking of which, that's like 70s colors too, eh? Like the 70s were full of earth tone leathers and like a lot of those rock bands, like the Badfinger band. Was totally earth tone band.
Yeah, I suppose never thought about it. Yeah.
The other one I was thinking of Joni Mitchell, Parking Lot. That song, Taxi.
There's an earth song right there.
Joni Mitchell is big time into environmental issues.
Yeah.
She was good.
Well, and Neil Young too.
Neil Young, yeah.
Like, they're all kind of like carrying the torch, that sort of thing. So.
Speaking of torches, Ernie, I brought 3 rocks here today. And this one here symbolizes, it's a red rock. When you dip it in water, it turns bright red.
Oh, cool.
These are just rocks I find out in the rock garden here at GPAC. I forgot to say we're at GPAC, Carmen, Manitoba. And this is a black rock. So the red rock to me symbolizes compassion and like heart in everything you do, like carrying your heart. And the black rock symbolizes, when someone's sort of like feeling vulnerable. It's down and out. You sort of like, when you have to face the world and you're expected to function and you don't want to be super transparent to the whole world, but you want to like carry yourself with integrity, but inside you're crushing sort of thing. This black rock is what you carry. I'm a little bit of a stone person,
I see that. Yeah.
And then the white rock transparency is when you is like I've heard a bit about it's just
sunny day.
Sunny day and being honest and clear communication.
Yeah,
so
honesty is
we have a good balance here. for today.
Uh-uh.
So, anyway,
But
Rolling Stones.
This just made me think, this Black Rock there, just made me think of a BTO song,
Oh, tell me.
Down and Out Man.
Down and Out Man.
Down and Out Man.
Sweet.
Great song, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you said Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I had an epiphany, is that proper use of that word?
Yes. Yeah.
About the name of the Rolling Stones this week, and I don't know why I thought of it, but I thought of Rolling Stones. So, in the 50s, we had rock and roll. In the 60s, we had rock and roll. In the 70s, we had rock and roll, well, classic rock, they call it. But Rolling Stones, rock,
roll. Totally,
roll.
man.
Rock, roll, Rolling
Hey,
Stones.
that is,
Right? Isn't that where they got the
it's
name
rock,
from?
man.
They got their name from rock and roll. They just changed it around a little bit. Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Very smart.
I'm assuming they did. I don't know.
No, that is like, you've been thinking hard, man. That's good.
It just came to me also.
Yeah.
But,
So, we'll jump into a segue question. What's your favorite band of all time? I think I've asked you a few times what this was. You're in a song and band, and starting it off, like maybe today is different. You're thinking of a different band today. Like,
it's almost always like, it's hard to say, but I love the Guess Who. And that's why Richard always called me the Guess Who guy. And I'm not saying all their music is good, because their latter part of their last several albums weren't very good, by and large. But when they were on their game, they were my favorite band.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But having said that, if you listen to Abbey Road album, like, that just blows everything out of the park. Like, that album is just so good. So how do you say when this is your best band when the Beatles are the ones that put out Abbey Road? And then to even top Abbey Road, which is really impossible, I'd say, musically, but in Let It Be, I actually like Let It Be more than Abbey Road. Just to listen to. So the Beatles are right up.
You know which album? I don't know which album it's on. Hey Jude.
Yeah.
Which album is that on?
It's on the Hey Jude album.
It's a separate album.
It's kind of an interesting story. That's actually a good point. They had all these songs that were not album songs, and when they put out Hey Jude, what they did is they took a bunch of these songs, and there was Can't Buy Me Love, and I Should Have Known Better, and all these songs, Old Brown Shoe, what else is on there?
So like compilation?
Hey Jude, Ballad of John and Yoko, and all these songs, they put them on an album, and they didn't call it the Hey Jude album, they called it The Beatles Again. That was the name of the album.
It was like a compilation album with a new release.
Yeah, it was a new release with all the songs that didn't make it onto the albums, that sort of thing. And I think that was done here. That wasn't so much done, I think, in England. I think it was more here, for selling. So they took all these, and then Hey Jude became such a monster hit that they changed it to Hey Jude album. But really, I have both. I have the original Beatles Again, and I have the Hey Jude album like that.
Yeah, I was thinking, as you were explaining that, Ernie, I was thinking about how musical artists have always, whether it's Paul McCartney was a master of promoting his music through his releases and his creative sort of ways of packaging his music, and and probably those kinds of artists like the Beatles and Paul McCartney and Elton John and all those guys would sound like, even like, there's been some innovations in how people release their music and and market their stuff, their art, their work. So what's your take on music as I was thinking about the way music has, you must have thoughts about how music is now online and what about copyright? For example, there used to be this sharing thing before where, what was the term? I'm thinking of Metallica and how they challenged that huge music thing.
I don't know anything about that, but I heard something about that.
Yeah, it was basically Metallic challenged. It was like a sharing music thing. I'll come up with a name after it'll come to me. And then before, everyone was just sharing music freely. And so copyright, people would not, like musicians would get sort of not so much money out of it, you'd say, but they still get the promo, like even more so. But now copyright has become such a big thing that you know, musicians get the benefits of financial stuff, but there's so much, you know, not everyone hears the broad base of music because of the copyright thing.
Yeah, that is a very deep subject because, you know, I kind of agree with both sides. Thing. And copyright, sure, they're important because my piece of music, I don't want anybody just to do whatever they want with it. Although anybody wants to redo my music, I'll be happy to write about it, you know. So I guess, and if you have to make a living, like, even if you would say, I'm going to do my music for free for everybody, you're going to starve to death.
Quite possibly.
You know what I'm saying?
But possibly not. Like
so it's not a matter of charging for music or not charging for your music. It's a matter of, I have to charge my music because I'm hungry. I got to eat.
Well, that part is real.
You know what I'm saying? There's a need there, and so.
So but there's also the greed, because you know where that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, humans.
You get a band like Metallica, not to slag Metallica, but these guys are billionaires already, and they just said no. We want, like, people are sharing our music freely. We don't want that. Like, so Lars Ulrich.
Yeah, well, it's literally impossible to stop it.
Stop the greed?
No. Well, maybe that too. That's a good point. But
or stop the sharing.
But
which
music, just the music in itself.
Yeah.
If somebody has a song, how are you going to stop somebody else from?
Well, this was the
from
thing
listening
too.
to it or taping it and enjoying it or lending it to somebody and they.
Yeah,
you know,
but I did read. Sorry to cut you off. I read, or I watched a movie, and you got to watch this too. It's called the Remixers, or the Mixers Manifesto. It's a documentary. Everyone who's listening should watch that movie on
Where
copyright.
Is it, on YouTube?
The Mixmaster Manifesto. It's on not YouTube. I mean, you could probably find it. There's a documentary, feature-length documentary. I first saw that on an airplane. I was traveling to Toronto or somewhere, and I was on the Air Canada flights. But the Mixmaster Manifesto talks about copyright, and there was a moment in the early 2000s.
Okay.
A heavy conservative regime in the USA, and they started crunching down on copyright infringements, and people who were found with a download of whatever their favorite song on their album would suddenly get a letter in the mail saying, you are being sued for $5 million because you have stolen this song from wherever they download, from this artist.
Right. Okay.
And it got really ridiculous. It went out of control. And this is what the way the States is right now. I'm thinking, because of like the early 2000s, things got really weird. So like, from this, according to this Mixmaster Manifesto movie, and there was like a moment where, they talk about Walt Disney and Happy Birthday, and that the song Happy Birthday is actually a copyright song, and they made this hilarious point that, like, we're all breaking copyright when we sing Happy Birthday.
I remember that.
And it's like, what is this world coming to?
What is this world coming to?
It's like, it reminds me, Ernie, like, of the, this little story, a little parable where this girl is like, goes in front of the baker's shop. She smells the beautiful, aroma of the goods coming,
that's
the cookies smell, and the cinnamon buns. She just stands there. She doesn't have money, but she loves the smell.
Yeah.
Little tiny girl. And then the baker one day comes out. This girl does it a couple times after school, and the baker comes out, and he's got a little bit greedy, and he says to her, "Hey, if you're gonna stand there smelling that my food, you're gonna have to pay me."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's caught in a dilemma, and then suddenly, anyway, so the little girl said, "I can't pay you. I don't have money. I'm poor." And then the baker takes her to the king, who says to this baker, "So what's the problem?" And then basically the king says, "Here's a solution. I want the baker to take out some coins out of his pocket and shake them." Sorry, not the baker, but the girl. Take the coins out of the baker. And as the girl, the king gives the girl some coins to shake.
Yeah.
And the baker hears this, and he's like, "Ooh, I can't wait. That money's going straight into my pocket." And then what the king says to the baker is, "There you go. You've been paid.
You've been paid. You heard the coins.
You heard the coins. She smelt the food. Even
Steven, yeah.
So, it's just a weird world we're living in. Like, where do we draw the line? I mean, I don't know. This is like Earth Day too, and I'll go on my soapbox for a moment. Earth Day to me, we're living in a shared space, a limited shared space.
Red Green said it best. We're all in this together.
We are.
And people forget that.
We are. And, some people, think, that musicians would starve or die off if they didn't put a tax or charge on their music. But I have this different philosophy where, to make a friend, money spreads all around. If you're my friend, I want to pay for what you're offering. You're a carpenter. So if you're my friend and you share your knowledge with me, I'm going to promote your services. I'm going to buy your services. But the more we create this sort of situation where mine is mine and yours is yours, everyone's turning into this me thing.
Yeah.
And it's really destructive. It's destructive to everyone. It's like I've seen so many people just go downhill because of that me sort of stuff. Yeah. But segue. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. You think about that one for a sec.
Well, I'm just thinking about that baker and the little girl story. Well, I have a real life experience with that.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said. I was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And there's a guy there who had this 57 Chevy. One of the local Mexican guys had this 57 Chevy. Yeah. All done up really nice. Mm-hmm. And I'm a tourist, and I'm walking around, and I see this car, and I looked at it. It was just awesome. It was so pretty. I took a picture of it. That guy was furious at me. And I don't know why, but I asked somebody that spoke the local language, and they said, "You're not allowed to take pictures of that car." Oh. Because it's his car. If you want a picture of it, you pay him.
Really?
That's so I have,
shame.
and seeing that at the time, I didn't know what was going down. All I knew was this guy was mad at me. And so there's an experience of the same thing.
Yeah.
I took a picture of his car. You pay for that picture.
It's also a way of establishing a dominance, like a fake dominance, alpha male dominance over the world.
The way we are here with our cars, we want people to take pictures of it. We show them
Of course.
So how is I supposed to know better, right?
You wouldn't known. And actually, I was thinking of this situation too of Russia, and I'm thinking how incredibly selfish on Earth Day, this Russian dictatorship, what they're doing is horrifically greedy over land, over money. It's over money and oil and everything else. And it's this is greed. And when it boils down to it, musicians, to me, are the opposite of greed. We're deep artists. We are artists. And it just doesn't make sense to fall in line with that material material sort of.
Every musician plays music that you want somebody else to listen to.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't play it to keep it.
No.
So you're 100% right that our philosophy is, this is what I have, this is what I've created, I want to share it with you.
Yeah, and I just think it works against the nature of sharing music when you put like limits on who can listen to it. If you have money, you can listen, and most people don't have them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, this is the trick here. I'm gonna dig my hand in there.
Okay.
And see what I can come up with. I'm reaching to the magic 45. Okay. I'm gonna go for a 45. That's even more exciting.
Hopefully it's not one that we've done already.
Well, let's see. Unless you have all the same album in here. Hold on.
No.
Oh, very interesting.
What do we got?
Now this.
What do you got there?
It's an unusual one.
Oh, they're all
like it says Pedalictus Reg.
Never heard of that song. That's got to be the B-side you're talking about.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Get Down to.
Oh, yes. I have a story about that song.
Tell me about it.
I have a story about that song. This is another one that when all those different podcasts, how I talked about, looking for these songs for decades and decades. This is another one. And I was in the 1970, like what year is this record? Because I thought it was 1970. And I looked on the record and I think it said 72. But I think it's 1970. I'm actually not seeing a year on here anywhere. But, and I'll tell you in a second why. It's 70. I'll take it out here and I'll take a look at it. But I have a very good story about this one. When I was living, we were living in Elm Creek at the time. And it doesn't say on here, but I think it's from 1970. Yeah, I found somewhere else it said 72. So something didn't line up. But anyway, so 1970, I was living close to Elm Creek. And we had a band there. And, that's actually another story.
I'll go with it.
But anyway, so there was this song on radio. Okay, this is another one of those songs I heard on AM radio. It was called Dip Down To.
Yeah.
Dip Down To. You gotta dip down to the reasons why. Yeah, you gotta dip down to the reasons why. And it's got great slide guitar and it's a great song.
Nice.
And it was on my list. Like if you look in my little booklet there, somewhere, wherever that is, that song will be there. I don't know how far down the line or how far up it is. Anyway, so I looked for that song for years. Where is my Dip Down To? And I don't know. I can't find it. But anyway, and I didn't have a recording of it at all.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff I had on cassettes I'd record, and I didn't have a recording of it. And so all I remember about the song is it had, because I guess I had learned to play it on guitar a little bit at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a recording of it. And so over the years, the song kind of disappeared from my mind, and I couldn't remember. All I remember was you had dip down to, and there was an oddball chord in there. And I kind of just, back of my mind had that. And that's all I had of that song. And then, decades later, which would have been, let's say in the early 2000s maybe, or even, no, it would have been after 2003. I started a new job in 2003 and started working for a different contractor. Anyway, I'd hired this guy from town, town here. And he was his name's Harry.
Yeah.
And he is a record collector.
Harry's really into the records? Carpenter guy, Harry?
Harry.
No.
Oh, just a different guy.
Okay.
Just a different guy. He lives in that part of town there, and he collects records and stuff. And so anyway, him and I are working together, and so we would talk music and stuff like that. And he was totally different than me in music. Like he collected more of the country stuff, especially the old country and unknown country singers from Manitoba was kind of his specialty, and I can't think of any names right now, but so he collected that type of record and that sort of thing, and he went to all the record shows in Winnipeg and all flea markets and all that. Yeah, flea markets and all that. So that was his thing. But anyway, during one of our conversations, I talked about this song, Dip Down 2. There was a song I was looking for, Dip Down 2. So I guess he wrote it down and remembered that. So, and then he only worked for me for a little while, and then he didn't after that or whatever. And so anyway, but we still kept in touch with the records and stuff. And then one day I go to his place, and he says, "Come into the porch here." Because I stopped in there for something. I'd go there once in a while, look at records and talk. And he says, "Come into the porch here," and he puts on this record on a turntable. It doesn't say anything about it, and he starts to play, and then it goes, it starts playing like that. And he says, and he didn't say anything. He just, if I'd recognize that song, and I'm listening, it's like, that's a really good song. What is that? He didn't say nothing. And then all of a sudden this guy starts singing. And then all of a sudden he's singing, "Gotta dip down to..." It's like, that's a song. And then he kind of smiled. He knew the instant when I recognized it, he smiled. He gave it to me. That's free, he said.
Oh my God.
And so I got it from Harry. He gave it to me. And it was worth like $1 million to get it.
No kidding.
And I looked at the record and it says, "Get Down To."
Yes.
Get Down To. And I was looking for Dip Down To.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for Dip Down To all these years. And so when you listen to the record now, you would agree with me. It sounds like he's singing Dip Down To.
Right.
That's exactly what it sounds like. And maybe I'll play it for you later.
Yeah.
Should I play it for you? You want to hear a chunk of it?
We'll do it after.
Do after,
then
okay.
I'll be
I'll play
contracted
it.
out of it.
But anyway, that's another one of the songs that took years and years to get.
Mm-hmm.
And the song was better than I'd hoped it was.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these songs, when you wait, and then you're almost disappointed years later.
Yeah.
Not that one. That's also just a great song.
So.
And Mainline. It's done by Mainline, and it's a Toronto band.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It's another Toronto band, yeah.
Okay, we're moving on. I'm going to pick another. This is our new strategy.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to pick it because this seems to be working good.
Okay, we can do that.
What do we got here, Ernie?
What do we got?
On the Hook by Alabama.
Oh,
Smile album. Tell me about it.
This is it. This is number one.
Is that like the Alabama band?
No.
Different Alabama?
Different Alabama. This is very, very interesting record. Like this song was on. I have this one taped on a cassette off of that little machine of mine. Mm-hmm. This one I have taped, and so I always listened to this song over the years.
Yeah.
And this song is called "Song of Love."
Okay.
And that's another one I should play for you later. And I did years later. I did manage once I discovered Discogs.
Yeah.
I did manage to get another copy. Oh, there was another copy of it. I'll show you. Where is it? I just saw it here a second ago. I managed to get a perfect copy of it.
Okay.
And I ordered it on.
Yeah.
For Discogs or something. Where is it now?
So where did you get this album from, Ernie? Where did this one come from, the story? It's got 57 written all over it. Is that actually a real... what is that? Is that actually box 8, 57, 57? Where did that
I don't know.
from?
Somebody just wrote on it.
There's like signatures. That looks like the band signed it, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, totally. June 4th, 13th. This might have been something that the band signed.
No, it's not impossible, but I think I got that from Don Olson.
Don Olson. Someone in here, town?
No, he was a record guy. He's already passed.
I'm serious, man. That totally looks like the band initialed it.
I think you're right when you're looking at it.
Looks like something there. But,
it's all the same signature, though.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see. But what, and who's, you were saying?
But I was looking, this is another song that I looked for years and years, and I would go to the record shows, and then I would say a Song of Love by Alabama, and they'd all say the country band. No, not the country band. This is a band out of Toronto, or close to Toronto somewhere. I have the write-up on them, actually.
Yeah, pull it.
I think I have the write-up on them, and I could give you some real details. And You've got a long way to go. Oh, here, mainline.
Nice, man. Well, that one's the main line.
Yeah, that one
pull
belongs on that record. I could have read stuff on that too. Here it is, Alabama.
Nice.
Let's read about Alabama.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
So, Alabama. Yeah, it was a band out of not. It says right up starts with not to be confused with the American act with the same name. The Toronto conglomeration of Alabama was steeped in Cajun and Acadian sounds from the principal songwriting teams of Fikes and Knight. The duo had hooked up with McLean and Sembalek in the early 70s. These are all the band members.
Oh, yeah.
Buster Fikes, Hector McLean, Rick Knight, Len Sembalek. Anyway, they had hooked up with, under the name Alabama moniker. Why they chose that name, I have no idea. Sembalek had been a founding member of Brutus with Walter Zoll. You've heard those names before.
Mm-hmm.
Brutus had a song called Say Something. What was it called? Say Something. Whatever, I forget. Walter Zoll, he's got records up. Their recording career was short-lived with one album and two singles in 1973, and I've seen the album on Discus. So it is available, but it's quite expensive. On small labels. Sembalek and Knight would go on to engineer albums by other artists, including the Stampeders' Hit the Road in 1976. So they had another song. The album was called Close to Home. And they had Song of Love, and they also had a song called Highway Driving, and you would know it's the same band.
Right.
This is all out country, bluegrass, kind of that music.
Yeah.
Whereas Song of Love is really, I don't know, bluesy, but it's deep and it's nice. It's very, very, totally different style.
Yeah.
And that's the only 245s they ever had out, and I have both of them.
Really, man?
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull one more.
Years later, I'm gonna find that other.
Yeah. Okay. We'll wait.
Second. I saw it here. Yeah, it's just it's such a perfect shape, and now I can't seem to find it. And I just saw it too. Creative. I guess it doesn't really matter much.
I was thinking too, while you dig for that, you can dig for it. I'll just pontificate while you dig. I was thinking about the nature of collecting and how it's like a story, and what a wonderful way to occupy a life. Like, I'm thinking of the need for stories in our lives, and sort of like collectors have a way of. I think collectors are, there it is. Good. I'm just going to finish this thought and then you can talk about it. So collectors to me, Ernie, are very much like, adventurous or,
passionate.
They're passionate. There's the fire. Passionate, adventurous, and just wanting to go out and find adventure. Go on the hunt and find adventure. To me, that's what collecting is.
Yeah.
Because you go this way, you meet someone, he tells you go that way, you meet another person, you fall into stories and stuff. And to me, that's it's like, to me in itself, it's a reason to sort of live. Sort of like it provides purpose, like the hunt, find something, seeking. And if you don't have curiosity and seeking in the world, what is the world for?
It definitely puts spice into life.
That's right. That's right.
It just.
Yeah. So there you go. Like, what is this? You found it. So this
copy.
Is on the hook.
And so I don't know what that song is. I have no idea. I think I listened to it once.
That's a mint album.
but it's very nice shape, and I got that off of Discus, and so I've got a lot of cool stuff off of Discus.
Totally,
Very
man.
pleased with that.
So what are you hunting for there?
I was just wondering where my dip down too. How far?
Oh yeah.
How far down
Well,
the
you look
ladder
after.
was.
I'm gonna pull one more album
You
here,
pull another one.
and we're trying to move on through these albums here. The first one on there. Oh, I think we've covered that one. I'm gonna put it back.
Yeah, you're gonna start to get.
I'm gonna dig a little deeper here, and we're actually going at a good clip here. Oh, tell me about this. Another Way Out. Oh, you lost a page. It says here, Brave Belt.
Brave Belt.
Another Way Out. And talking about, it looks like it has a ship on the cover. Reprise albums. And let me look at the other side here. Again, yeah, the band is Brave Belt. Dunrobin's Gone. It sounds Irish.
Oh.
Or Scottish. I don't know. Who is this guy? Who are these guys?
Well, that's a good question because Dunrobin's Gone, Brave Belt is BTO before they became BTO.
Oh my God!
Yeah, when they were cruising in Ontario somewhere, and they stopped at some gas station somewhere having some bite to eat. They're touring as Brave Belt.
Wow!
And they're playing all these songs, Another Way Out, and Dunrobin's Gone was their big radio song, and and they had Never Coming Home. No, never
Yeah.
They had that song, and they had a pile of great songs. And so they're touring, and they're sitting in a gas station restaurant in some place in Ontario, and there's a sign on the wall. I don't know exactly what the ad was or what it meant, but it said Overdrive. It was written on the wall. It's a truck stop, right?
Yeah.
It said Overdrive. And the guys in the band were three brothers, right? You got Randy, Tim, and Rob.
Yeah.
And the bassist and probably the main singer was Fred Turner. So what could you do but call it Bachman, Turner,
Overdrive. Nice.
That's where they got their name from. Yeah. So Randy tells all these stories like it. In fact, he has I think he's got a tour coming up again where he's going to do that, tell these stories.
He's got a great radio station.
And he does. He tells all these stories on his Vinyl Tap and all that.
It's great. It's Vinyl Tap, not Spinal Tap, as in the movie Spinal Tap.
Yeah, it's Vinyl Tap, just like RPNs.
Yeah.
Little play on words there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if there's a whole lot to tell about this. I have a little bit of a personal story about this.
Yeah, please tell the personals. I'm interested in these personal stories.
Yeah, and so I had this friend from Austin. His name was Al.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like using last names, so we'll just Al.
Mm-hmm.
From Austin, and he's a guitar player. And so I knew him when I was young. We never played guitar together or anything.
Yeah.
And years later, like I'm talking, it was probably 1973 that I knew him.
Yeah.
1973 to 74. Years later, in 2000 and roughly 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm working in the Flint Flock.
Yeah.
I'm working in Flint Flock. And on my cell, I'm sitting and having supper, and I get a phone call from this guy, Al.
Uh-huh.
Hadn't seen him in decades. He says, "Do you want to start a band together?"
No.
And I said, "Absolutely. I'm always looking to start bands." And so, long story short, when I got back, we got together, and we've done a few gigs over the years. So now the common thing here is every couple of years we get together and we do a gig somewhere. And he's a steel player.
Yeah.
And everybody he plays with, he's kind of a freelance steel player. And he
Yeah.
plays with all these people. And so when he calls me up, then he wants to play guitar because then he doesn't have to play steel because he likes to play guitar too, right?
Yeah.
But with everybody else, he always has to play steel. So he gets to play guitar when he's with me, and that's why it's every couple of years he has a craving to do guitar stuff.
Oh.
And so we get together and we do guitar shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the side part of the story. When we first got together and we had a practice Oh no, we had a show. And we were done the show in Portage Prairie.
Yeah.
And we're done the show, and I said, "You want to go for coffee?" And we went for coffee at Tim Hortons, and it was over at the corner of Third, just kitty corner from the McDonald's gun store. There was a Tim Hortons there. I think it's changed now to something else. So we went into the Tim's for coffee, and we sat there and just to catch up. You know, I bet you we sat there 2 hours just to catch up. We visited and visited.
Yeah.
And he said to me, and we talked about this song. He says, one of my favorite songs of all time is this Dun Robin's Gone by Grave Belt. That is one of my all-time favorite songs. And so now I always think of him when I see this song, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so this was his favorite song. It was really cool. I was like, I have that
Did he
song.
say why, or did he just leave
No,
it at that?
he didn't say why. But the thing is, when we left, so now we've sat there for 2 hours, and then we talked about all kinds of things. But he mentioned about this song. I walk over to my truck. I had my truck that day, and he walks over to his vehicle. He had a small little car. Whatever, he walks there, I walk here, we see, good, we'll do it again sometime, and it was fun. And I get in my truck and start it up and turn the radio on. You know what song was on radio? Dun Robin's Gone.
Wow, man.
And, how coincidental is that?
Yeah.
And so I got out of my truck, I went over, I said, you know what song's on radio? Listen. It was the most awesome thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so those are things that only happen less than once in a lifetime, you know?
Totally.
And so, so that's a very cool thing about that song, about that record and my friend Al, you know?
That's awesome, man. Like, and it's all, like, life to me, like, it goes back to this song about, or this story about, sort of like, relationship. Not like love relationship, like man-girl sort of woman sort of relationship, but just relationship. And to me, that's the meaning of life. And when you tell your stories, man, it's awesome because you're telling of a journey of a man's life. Like your life is not only your life, but similar to other.
I think every person
has
affects so many other people.
Yeah. I'm just gonna for the last little. I think we're almost done. I check our time here.
Are we out of time?
We are, man. But that's been great. We got 3 minutes. I'm gonna quickly pull up a little song here. And in the spirit of what does that say?
What does it say?
Dig a hole.
Dip down to.
Dip down to. Yeah.
There it is.
Buddy.
And I never marked it off. I never even had a chance to mark it off when I found it. That's how recent I found it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry I cut you off.
No, I want to play you. Because last time we started this trend of playing songs that we've written, and today's day and age, it's all like, we just passed Christmas. I mean, Easter. I wrote this little song called 9 Inch Nail. It's sort of about like trying to imagine what, 9 Inch Nail is about a song that, like, it's not the 9 Inch Nail song, but it's 9 Inch Nail the band, but it's a song about sort of like growing up, and then the more we grow up, the narrower our path becomes. Like sometimes our lives become, we get ailments, sore backs, illnesses, stuff like that. So that's what this song is about. It's 9 Inch Nail is a song I wrote, and it's about growing up and realizing people aren't so free in this world. So this is it. Here goes. Just gonna quickly call it up. Go up. Oh, look at that. It's got 230 listens already. So here goes. The only way to On the cross I carry. If I could rewind time and change my mind, the 9-inch nail through my hands today. It was the only way to humility. I got you on coming on the far side. If I could rewind time. Gonna fade out there. You can look up my music on BandLab. It's Nigel Bart. No, my DJ name, whatever, my music name on BandLab is DJ Foshock. But yeah, the songwriting, music, collecting, whatever, everything in between. I was thinking to summarize, Earth Day. Summarizing, we looked at 3 bands tonight. It's 3 albums. We've talked about rocks, tying everything together, collectors, the adventure spirit. And I'm thinking life can have a lot of color. And sometimes being open to, conversations is such a wonderful.
How many people have you met because of music? How many
Exactly.
friends have you made because of music?
Exactly.
Exactly. And so,
yeah. Music, universal language, man.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. And
it's a very good thing. It's healthy.
It's totally healthy, man. It crosses everything. It crosses years and years. There's people listen to music from the Baroque period and tribal periods.
Yeah.
It is just tribalism and it's just, I think music's awesome. But we're gonna have to wind her up. Any last words there, Ernie?
Yeah. Well, actually, I do have some last words. My take on this stuff is don't do drugs. You know how they always say don't do drugs?
Yeah.
Well, I say don't do drugs. Buy a guitar, and you can be high all the time.
Sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good. There's a song coming.
Yeah.
It's a good one, too. Because honestly, and there's a big myth to, just to cap it off. No one needs to do drugs. No one. The world is set up in a weird way it almost lies to people who I'm experienced with a few addiction issues myself, but sometimes we fall into bad things, and drugs are one of those. It's we sometimes don't know what we're doing in life, and you fall into a trap of using something you definitely do not want to use.
Yeah.
And suddenly, I've been there.
False happiness.
So I've been there. I've gotten out. So fortunately. So yeah, you're right, Ernie. And high on life all the time.